The glass doors of the Jefferson Grand Hotel swung open with a soft chime, as they had thousands of times before, ushering in another busy morning of guests, meetings, and whispered deals. The scent of fresh lilies mixed with polished mahogany lingered in the air. Standing behind the reception desk, a calm yet focused woman scanned the lobby, double-checked the morning's guest list, and offered a polite smile to a passing bellhop. Her name badge simply read, A. Johnson. Ava Johnson was no ordinary front desk attendant. She was the founder and CEO of the Jefferson Grand Hotel chain, a hospitality empire she had built from the ground up. She wasn't supposed to be behind the desk. But after returning early from an international business trip, she decided to do a surprise walkthrough. Disguised in a plain black t-shirt and slacks, she wanted to see the day-to-day operations from the ground level, to ensure her team was living up to the brand she had poured her soul into. Her staff didn't recognize her in her dressed-down appearance, and Ava didn't offer any explanation. She quietly observed how guests were treated, how the phones were answered, and how problems were solved. She noted the details: who smiled, who didn't, who rushed to help and who stood idle. Then, without warning, the energy in the room shifted. A man in his early 40s, clean-cut with a sharp navy suit and an even sharper temper, stormed in. He walked with the air of entitlement, his expensive shoes echoing across the polished marble. "What is this?" he barked, pointing toward Ava. "Who let the temp behind the desk?" Ava lifted her chin slightly. "Good morning, sir. How can I help you?" "Help me," he scoffed. "You can start by getting me someone competent. Someone who actually works here." The surrounding staff, a mixture of nervous assistants and confused managers, exchanged uncertain glances. No one intervened. "Sir, I assure you, I do work here," Ava said calmly. "If you have a concern—" "Oh, I have a concern," he cut in. "You—" Standing there, pretending to belong. "I'm the Regional Operations Director, and I will not have someone like you representing our front desk." "Someone like you." The phrase cut through the air. Ava felt the stares from guests and staff alike. Yet she didn't flinch. She folded her hands on the counter, her tone remaining even. "And what exactly do you mean by someone like me?" He smirked. "You know exactly what I mean. Get out. Before I call security." That was the moment when the lobby fell entirely silent. 9 minutes passed. 9 minutes where no one came to her defense. 9 minutes where eyes turned away and mouths remained shut. Ava took every second in, observing who stayed silent, who smirked, who pretended not to see. Then she gently placed the clipboard on the desk, opened the manager's drawer, and retrieved her ID card. Slowly, she slid it across the desk toward the man. "You might want to read that before you embarrass yourself further," she said, her voice steel beneath silk. He glanced down, and his face paled. Ava Johnson, founder and chief executive officer, Jefferson Grand Hotels. The color drained from Richard Bennett's face as he stared at Ava's ID card. The room, filled with shocked silence just moments earlier, suddenly buzzed with the uncomfortable rustling of papers, throat-clearing, and averted eyes. I had no idea," Richard stammered. "No one told me you were visiting." Ava took her ID card back with calm precision. "You're absolutely right. No one told you. That was intentional." The blonde woman who had stood silently during the exchange, Olivia Moore, the assistant general manager, finally stepped forward. "Ms. Johnson, we didn't recognize you. You weren't scheduled." Ava turned to face her, the CEO's gaze unwavering. "Is that your justification, Olivia? That had you recognized me, you might have acted differently?" Olivia opened her mouth, then closed it. No words would do. Ava turned back to the reception desk and pulled out the hotel's guest feedback log and a slim black folder she had tucked into her bag. It contained notes she had compiled throughout the morning: staff who ignored guests, poor service to families, condescending responses to foreign travelers. "I came here unannounced to observe. Not as a test, but to understand. And now I do. Perfectly." She looked around the lobby where her employees stood stiffly. Some were newer hires. Others had been with her company for years. Yet in those crucial 9 minutes, not one had intervened. Ava walked out from behind the counter, now fully owning her authority. "I built this hotel with my bare hands," she said, her voice rising only slightly. "When I started, I cleaned the rooms myself, folded towels, checked in guests. I treated every person who walked through those doors with respect. I expected the same from every single one of you." She made eye contact with Olivia, Richard, and the rest of the management team. "You didn't just fail me. You failed the brand. You failed our guests. And you failed the very foundation this company stands on." Richard swallowed hard. "Ava, Ms. Johnson, please, let us make it right." "Oh, you'll make it right," she replied curtly. "By leaving." Gasps rippled across the room. "Effective immediately, the entire management team of this location is terminated. Pack your things. Security will escort you out within the hour." Olivia began to protest, but Ava raised a single hand. "If you want to speak, do it to the HR review board, not to me." With that, she turned her attention to the guests in the lobby, some of whom had been watching the drama unfold with interest. "Ladies and gentlemen," she announced, "this morning has not reflected the values of Jefferson Grand. You deserve better. I assure you, better is on the way." A round of polite applause broke out, tentative but sincere. Later, as the dismissed managers gathered their belongings, Ava retreated to the executive suite upstairs. She had a meeting to prepare for, not just with legal and HR, but with herself. This incident, while painful, revealed a much deeper problem than a rude confrontation. It revealed complacency. But she wasn't done. Not yet. She had plans for tomorrow. And they started with rebuilding everything from within. She introduced her new interim general manager, Maya Chen, a seasoned hospitality expert known for her integrity and team-first leadership. Maya had once been a night manager who turned around an underperforming branch within 6 months. Ava knew she was the right person to model what true leadership looked like. Together, they laid out a plan. Full retraining for all customer-facing staff. Anonymous guest feedback channels. A zero-tolerance policy on discrimination, bias, or poor treatment. A culture rooted in service, respect, and unity. Later that day, Ava received a message from a guest who had witnessed the incident the day before. The email read, "Ms. Johnson. I was in the lobby yesterday during that horrible scene. I didn't say anything then, but I wanted to say thank you now. Thank you for standing your ground with dignity. Thank you for showing us what leadership really looks like. My daughter was with me. She asked me last night who that woman was, and I told her that was a queen. Sincerely, Amanda T. Ava sat back, her heart heavy but full. That message confirmed what she already knew. This moment, though painful, would shape the next era of her company. In the weeks that followed, the hotel's guest ratings soared. The new team exceeded expectations, and guests left raving reviews. The Jefferson Grand's reputation not only recovered, it flourished. As for Richard and the dismissed staff, some filed appeals. But their behavior had been documented, and the decisions upheld. Ava never intended to return to daily operations. But this experience reminded her why she built Jefferson Grand in the first place. It wasn't about marble floors or five-star menus. It was about people. About creating a space where everyone, regardless of their background, uniform, or paycheck, was treated with respect. 9 minutes. That's all it took to expose a problem. But with conviction, clarity, and courage, Ava turned those 9 minutes into a legacy-defining moment. And she wasn't finished yet. The momentum Ava had reignited didn't stop at the Jefferson Grand. Within a month, she called a summit of all Jefferson Grand general managers and senior executives from across the country. The event, held at the company's flagship location in Chicago, was designed not just to retrain but to inspire. On stage, Ava shared her story openly, not to shame, but to educate. She walked through the timeline of those 9 minutes, the silence that followed, and the decisions that had to be made. Leadership, she said, isn't just about who speaks loudest. It's about who stands up when silence is easiest. Her speech went viral after a guest attending the conference uploaded it online. Thousands of viewers across industries shared it with the caption, "Watch how a real leader handles injustice in her own house." Soon, Ava found herself fielding requests from media outlets, universities, and corporate organizations eager to invite her as a speaker. But she wasn't interested in fame. She was focused on transformation. She implemented a new initiative called Project Legacy, a mentorship program within Jefferson Grand, pairing senior leaders with junior employees to foster empathy, transparency, and advancement from within. She brought in DEI specialists and hospitality veterans to evaluate each location's workplace culture. Back at the original Jefferson Grand, guests began to notice a different energy. Staff walked taller, greeted guests with warmth and dignity, and operated as if they were stewards of something greater than themselves. The hotel became a case study in rapid cultural turnaround. 1 year later, Ava returned to that same lobby. She stood quietly for a moment, observing how her new team handled guests, how they smiled, how they listened. A young receptionist caught her gaze, smiled warmly, and asked, "Welcome to Jefferson Grand, ma'am. How can I help you today?" Ava smiled back. "You already have." As Ava walked through the corridors of the hotel, she passed a new wall installation just beyond the lobby, a mural of Jefferson Grand's history, featuring candid photographs of staff, founders, and heartfelt guest messages. At the center was an image of Ava herself, arms folded, in front of the very desk where she had been humiliated a year prior. Below the image, a brass plaque read, "Respect is not requested. It is expected." That afternoon, she met with a group of interns from a local hospitality school. Most of them were first-generation students, eager and wide-eyed. One of them, a young black woman named Tamara, stood up and said, "Ms. Johnson, how did you stay calm that day when they disrespected you?" Ava paused before answering. "Because I wasn't standing there as a victim. I was standing there as a builder. When you build something with integrity, you don't let anyone knock it down with ignorance." The room erupted in applause. Tamara approached her afterward. "Someday, I want to run my own hotel." "And you will," Ava replied. "And when you do, remember this. It's not the chandeliers or the linens that define a hotel. It's how people feel when they walk through those doors. That's what we protect." Ava stepped outside into the warm evening air. The Jefferson Grand stood tall behind her, not just as a building, but as a beacon. Not every moment in leadership would be comfortable, but every one would count. And in those moments, she would lead with honor.